Blog Talk Radio.
Transition, the process of change from one condition to another.
We are now at a new crossroads where change is evident once again.
What does not serve us must transform us anew.
Returning to our original state of oneness and true nature of that which created who we truly are.
Confusion was the way of the past. Enlightenment is the way of the now and future. Shedding away the layers of deceit.
We now bring you the transformation of the two who started as one. Our fearless planet never stands still.
Earth has been in a process of transition. Not exactly. It's remarkable, ongoing reality.
Welcome to Transition Radio.
Well, hello and good evening. My name's Mark Angelo Cummings, and I am your host.
And I'm Lena Lopez, and I'll be your hostess.
Tonight we're broadcasting live from the wonderful land of enchantment, Silver City, New Mexico.
Nice and warm and toasty today.
Yes, it was.
We want to thank our sponsors at thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you can imagine to enhance your feminizing needs.
As well as Spunk Lube, which is an amazing personal lubricant. It is 100% sex toy safe, glycerin-free, and it's fun to use. You can check them out at
www.spunklube.com.
And guess what? You'll get a 10% discount if you enter the code TR. So go ahead and enter that code and get yourself some Spunk Lube. Anyway, guys, tonight we have an amazing guest. His name is Quinn Oliver. Quinn is a singer, songwriter, and a multi-instrumentalist. He plays folk, indie music, and has been performing publicly since 2010. Quinn is self-taught on guitar, harmonica, and mandolin. He attended Louise Coles Harrison Center for the Performing and Visual Arts in Lakeland, Florida, during high school and majored in violin performance. He is a Florida native and loves the local music scene in Central Florida.
Quinn was formerly a member of the following bands: I Shine, Particle Jive, for lack of a better word, and Jeremy Treetop Window. He is currently in the folk indie band Bow and Sparrow, and as well as pursuing a solo career in music. Quinn is also a stay-at-home dad and a contributing member of the transgender community on YouTube.
Well, now, welcome to the show, Mr. Quinn Oliver. Hey, Quinn, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. So, Floridian, huh?
I am. Hot as it is, I am.
Yeah,
I got away for a little bit, went up north, and I'm back.
And you're back. Yeah, I left Florida February of last year. I've lived there mainly all of my life. I've traveled all over the world. But Florida's a bit too humid, and I don't know, the politics there aren't exactly the most pleasant.
You could say
as
that
we
again.
see. Yeah, right. That's crazy. But, yeah, I love the beach, and, you know, I'm Cuban, so I love Cuban food. But
definitely.
New Mexico's home for me. So let me ask you, how long have you been writing music, Quinn?
Let's see. I would have to say since about fourth grade. It's funny, I actually wrote a Just Say No to Drugs rap for the DARE program back when I was in fourth grade, and I won. And Lawton Childs gave me some award. I vaguely remember that. It was a good time. And my mother actually took that and published it in the paper without my knowledge, so apparently everyone read it that year.
Proud mama.
And, you know, I didn't really take my own advice after that, but that's a whole other story, and I'm a lot better now.
That's good. It's amazing to me how many really talented trans individuals there are. They either play an instrument, they either are comedians, performers, actresses. It is just amazing. I mean, if you look at our guest list, there are tons and tons of trans artists, and I think that's a pretty cool thing. So what actually got you involved in music?
Well, I came from a pretty musical household. My mom plays piano and sings, and from the time I was little, she had me on the piano bench, you know, and she actually taught me how to harmonize when I was really young. So she's had a big influence on how musical I am.
That's amazing. And are you an only child?
I am.
You are. If you would have had a couple of brothers and sisters, you all probably could have started a band.
That's right.
Yeah.
Quinn,
I don't mind
hi,
being an only
this is
child.
Lena.
That's good.
Hi, Quinn. This is Lena, and I'm not from Florida, but I'm from the West Coast, so sort of like from California. So used to the beach and all that. But can you tell us about your musical style?
Sure. I would have to say, after a long evolution, that I am folk through and through, with a little bit of blues here and there. And it has been an evolution for me, much like my own transition. You know, when I first started playing music, I was really into like Tool and the Deftones and kind of the harder rock, and I really wanted to play that style of music. And as hard as I tried, I just came out sounding like Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan, you know. So I had to just learn to embrace the folkness of me, and the older I got, the more I got turned on to folk music, and I actually learned how to embrace my own style.
Did you have to basically relearn how to sing after you transitioned? Or did it stay with you?
Well, yeah, it kind of stayed with me. I definitely have had to, you know, relearn my muscle memory in my throat. Up until I was about 16 months on T, I couldn't project. Like, my projection just left me. And it kind of bothered me. Like, I actually got a little depressed about it for a while because I was wondering, you know, is this ever going to come back? But it eventually did, and now my voice actually has a nice texture to it that it didn't have before. And it's always nice to sound like you've always wanted to sound, and, you know, to get up there on stage and not feel like a stranger's voice is coming out of you.
Funny you mentioned that, because I noticed that too. I couldn't sing for a while. I didn't have any projection. My voice just sounded awful, and I became very depressed too. But I stuck with it, and I developed a new style, a new voice, that very raspy type of voice that I love. You know, unlike before, I had a high-pitched soprano voice, and wouldn't have looked very good with this body, with a beard, and so it's a good thing that changes. I heard
and they say, you know, if you're going to transition and sing after you transition as well, that you have to sing through your transition, or else you'll end up with this foreign instrument and not know how to use it properly. So I think that was what was key for me. You just got to keep singing.
Yeah, because the vocal cords do change. They lengthen. And I've noticed now that I got a very deep voice. I could really become a baritone, I would say, would be more or less if I wanted to, and compared to before. Yeah. And it's one of those things that, because I've interviewed a lot of male trans man musicians who have talked about their voice changes, and I know Lucas, he had to take small amounts of testosterone so that gradually the voice changed, and not abruptly as many of us had our voices changed. So it's something that trans guys really have to look into, the dosing and continue to practice. Yeah.
And I actually I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was going to say I actually kind of, you know, went into it very slowly taking testosterone because I was really scared of, you know, not having a singing voice anymore and what it would do to the songs I've already written. And I just had to rekey everything, basically.
Oh, definitely. The capo becomes your best friend.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed that for me. One of the other FTM performers and musician, Ryan Casada, he has not taken, last that I spoke with him, and we've had him on the show several times, he has not taken testosterone in fear that his voice might change. Because I know a lot of us, that was the biggest fear, and for me, you know, my voice did change completely. Anyway, who has been your role model, or do you have several role models?
I do have several. Personally, I would have to say my mother and my wife are my personal role models. My mom kind of modeled me in the ways of kindness. You know, she taught me how to be a good person at heart and how to be generous with your love. And my wife came along, well, we've known each other for a long time, but when we picked up our current leg of this relationship, I was kind of brokenhearted and a broken soul, and she kind of picked me up by my bootstraps and, you know, and got me going again and showed me how to love. So she's really, my day-to-day hero. She had me get my life together, so to speak. I would say musically my role models are Laura Jane Grace from Against Me. She's just amazing. I actually saw her in concert last February. She played this acoustic show for 97X Green Room here in Orlando, and it was just this amazing, intimate concert. And lastly, I would have to say Bob Dylan. Not for any, not for any real reason other than his music just touches my soul. He's, by and large, my favorite musician.
Yeah, he's really awesome. So you were talking about your relationship. Let's delve a little bit more. You said that you had been heartbroken and that your current wife taught you how to love again.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that for us?
I can. I had, not the best relationship prior to getting with my wife, and I kind of was, not too keen on the idea of, starting over or just love in general. I was kind of disillusioned with the whole thing, and she had been a good friend of mine since I was 18 years old, and she would be the person I would call if something really great happened or if something really bad happened in my life. She was the first phone call, so it wasn't really a stretch to think that, we would be soulmates and we would be great together, and turns out she's the only one meant for me.
That's amazing.
We were together, before I transitioned. Obviously, she's known me since I was a kid, and, she supported me 100%. She's my biggest cheerleader.
That's a beautiful thing.
Have your parents been supportive as well?
Yeah, so I'm not really in contact with my father, but my mother has been 100% supportive. She's just amazing. I called, awesome. She called me. I was on my way back home from a gender therapy appointment, and I hadn't told her yet. And she called, and I'm like, oh, I'm coming back from, therapy. And she's like, oh, are you okay? Are you depressed? And I'm like, it's not that kind, Mom. It's gender therapy. She's like, and she was just quiet. And I'm like, do you know what that means? She's like, I know who Chaz Bono is. I could have told you that a long time ago. I've been waiting on you to tell me.
Oh, wow. That's great.
It's amazing to have that kind of support.
It's very important.
Amazing.
I mean, a lot of us don't have that, but when you do, it's very important. It makes the transition a lot easier. I think we adapt a lot better when we have good friends and families that are backing us up.
Definitely. And, I've lost some family members, but the ones that have remained by my side mean even more to me,
Those are the ones that are true and true.
Now, you
Definitely.
say that you're a stay-at-home dad, and can you talk to us about that?
I am. It is the love of my life. This is the best job I've ever had. My son is 8 months old. His name is Tristan, and he's just the apple of my eye. I'm so good at it, too. I was worried, before he came along, am I going to be a good dad? Am I going to be able to be masculine enough in the ways a dad should be to raise a son? And, it's really easier than you think it's going to be.
What kind of feedback have you had from people regarding having a son and being transgender?
I don't think anyone's ever been brave enough to actually say anything negative to me about that. I've gotten nothing but support, and we adopted him. So, I just feel like he was always meant to be ours. People even say he looks like me. So it's kind of crazy how it works out.
And I'm sure you guys are prepared to teach your son how to deal with the bigotry in life, because people are very cruel in the real world, that we live in. And I'm sure that you guys are prepared to let him be equipped to deal with the situations that he might have to deal with in the future.
Yes. I hope we can equip him well. I have faith in us, We've agreed that, we're never going to hold anything back. We're never going to hide anything from him. From the time he's old enough to understand, we'll be nothing but honest with him because, that's what he deserves. It'll help him foster understanding.
And he'll be an amazing kid, because those are the best kids, when parents are open and they teach them to not be bigots and teach them to love unconditionally. That's the key.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's not my current situation. I have 4 boys and 1 girl, and prior to transitioning, I was the typical dad, but I come from a very religious background, and my ex just wouldn't tolerate it, and basically, I can't basically be a parent anymore to my children. So it's really sad, but I'm hoping that...
It is. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, I'm hoping that over time, the kids will understand more, and but that's the chance that we take when we do transition. We run the risk of losing it all, and losing family is a very difficult thing,
Yeah, it is. It's kind of the wound that never heals,
Yeah, it is. So are your children as musical, is your child as musical as you, and what is your favorite instrument, if you do have one?
I do, and I hope that one day he will be as musical as me. I really believe he will be, because he's going to be raised around it, He's only 8 months old, so he's not really too much into it yet, but he loves the guitar. When I play guitar, sometimes when he's crying, that's the only thing that will make him stop crying. He just is captivated with it. And I was actually playing for him right before the show started, and he just sits there and stares at it, and then he has to touch it. I think he likes to feel the vibration on his hands, the reverberation in the guitar. And he's just starting to, I think it's singing. They're just noises, but I feel like he's starting to sing with me. So that's exciting. And I'd have to say my favorite instrument, I love the string family. That's what I play. So I'd have to say guitar and violin as far as that go. But the instrument that I love the most that I wish I could play is an oboe. I just love the sound of an oboe. It's just so rich.
Wow.
I'm not a master at woodwinds.
You say you're self-taught, and that's pretty impressive. Every instrument you're self-taught?
The violin I went to a performing arts high school for, but guitar and harmonica, mandolin, singing, I've never had any lessons, so...
So do you incorporate, if you play the violin, would you be able to play the fiddle as well?
Theoretically, I could. The strings are a little thicker on a fiddle, and it's just stylistically different. But, I could. I tend to play more from a classical foundation on a violin, just, I guess, because of the performing arts school. They kind of pound it into you,
Have you tried adding the violin to any of your tracks? I think that's, by dubbing it in into some of the folk stuff. I think that would probably sound really awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, definitely. And I'm actually in a band called Bow and Sparrow, a folk band, and I play violin a lot. I can alternate because there's 2 other musicians in the band, so I get to play violin some with that, and it sounds really good in that style of music. So I'll definitely be incorporating that into my solo album.
So is your music career going to keep you in Florida, or do you have aspirations to go anywhere else with that?
I would love to travel. I don't really know where the road might lead. I'm open to anything.
Sort of like us.
So let me ask you, you mentioned you contribute to YouTube. Can you elaborate a little bit more how you contribute to the trans community?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
How do you contribute to the trans community?
I'm sorry, I still didn't hear that.
How you mentioned that you contribute to YouTube, some trans channel I think you had mentioned in your bio. How can you elaborate? How do you contribute to the trans community? Oh, hello. I think we lost them. I think we're having a little problems
on the Skype.
Maybe he was. Well, hopefully he'll call back in. And in the meantime, that's pretty cool having, a child that age. I actually saw a YouTube video that the father was playing the guitar for the kid, and the kid was just going wild. Every time the father would play the guitar, he was just going.
Well, they've got all those videos wild. from like on Facebook where they show like cute kids and stuff, and those always get a lot of hits, because imagine a dad's playing his guitar and the kids jumping up and down and stuff and enjoying it.
Definitely. Hopefully he's able to call back and give him a few minutes here. But, it's amazing how many trans performers there actually are.
I'm really surprised at how many FTM performers there are.
There you go. You're back.
I'm back. Sorry about that. My phone started messing up.
It's okay. That's what happens. Modern technology. You can't really trust it. Anyway, how do you contribute to the trans community, Quinn?
Well, I started by documenting my transition through YouTube videos, and I still do that. Now I'm on a collaborative channel called FTM Wolfpack, and we handle a variety of topics. I also, for lack of a better word, I mentor other trans guys that, need help with questions or what have you. I kind of have an open door policy, as far as helping others.
That's great. And YouTube is a great vehicle for that. I remember back in the day when I transitioned, there wasn't YouTube yet. I think now there are so many channels that a brand new trans person could really get a lot of information and, like you said, get mentored, and it's really a great thing.
Yeah, I would have been lost without the resources of YouTube and the trans community. It really helped me out when I first started questioning my gender.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff.
When did you start to question your gender?
All my life I've felt like I was different, but I didn't have the vocabulary to comprehend or express it until I was about 33. I was a late bloomer, and a friend of mine was dating a trans guy, so I went on his Facebook and, kind of looked around, and then I saw a couple YouTube videos, and then I got to YouTubing about it and trans Googling, as I call it. And, I would lay in bed with the covers over my head like I was keeping it a secret from everyone.
Wow. It's funny, back when I transitioned, I think there was only a few pages, like Jameson Green and Jameson's Night, were the only website available, so there wasn't a lot to really learn. So now the trans guys, or anyone in the trans community, is actually pretty lucky that there is so much information out there.
Definitely.
Can you share your experience as a transgender man? Do you feel this is a gift or a burden?
I do feel like it's a gift. A lot of transgender people, and, to each their own, I'm not knocking it, but a lot of transgender people say that, they're born into the wrong body. Personally, I think that I was born right where I was supposed to be. A lot of my body parts don't agree with my mind, and I don't care for them, but I think that I was put into this body for a purpose, and that is to, kind of foster understanding into the world, I like to think everything happens for a reason, and I don't know, I've just always believed that.
Definitely, and I believe it's a major gift. I mean, what more awesomeness than to have lived life as both and have that experience and be able to understand how a female feels and understand how a male feels by having both, I call it energy or frequencies, that we have.
Definitely, and especially in music, before I transitioned, I didn't really pay attention to gender in music because, music isn't about any specific thing. It's just universal. But once I started transitioning, I was lucky enough to realize that, say, the way Stevie Nicks writes is a little bit different than the way Bob Dylan writes because they have two different instruments in their voices that they're working with. So, Stevie Nicks' melody and therefore her chord progressions are going to be different than, if a man were to write that song. So I'm lucky that I kind of got both sides of it because I started writing my music pre-transition.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought of it. That's a great observation, and actually tremendous gift for those that are musicians that be able to have both. So let me ask you, what do you think about the radical movement in our community and all the infighting that's taking place?
Are you talking about like the trans rights movement?
Yeah, that and the bathroom ordeal and this whole Planet Fitness thing that's going on. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I think that the bathroom thing is just such a shame. I mean, I feel like it's, 1963 Selma all over again. It's just ridiculous that, in 2015 we're at this point. I think that, that there should never be a need for a gay rights or a trans rights or a black rights. I think it should just be human rights. In an ideal world, we wouldn't have to fight for that. We would just have it because we should. I think that all the infighting, I think we just need to find love. I'm a firm believer in anything that is not love is just love misrepresented. So I think at the root, everyone just wants to be loved, but unfortunately we're humans, so I think we're kind of drawn to chaos, and when we can't find it, we kind of seek it out.
Yeah, and I think, as humans in every minority group, we always think that we're worse off than everybody else, and we're always pointing at me, me, me. With this bathroom issue, I tend to be in the fence with this because I'm also worried, and I was born a female, how females are going to perceive a cross-dresser or a transgender person who's not fully transitioned yet, not there yet. How are they going to feel if their bathroom is being invaded? So I'm on the fence on this. I tend to want to be compassionate, not just for the trans person, but also for the woman who's in the bathroom who gets totally shocked, who could have probably been sexually molested when she was younger and all of a sudden faces fear. So it's one of those things, that we've got to really, we need to learn to give compassion to receive compassion.
We do, definitely. When I was first starting testosterone and, a little bit before I started testosterone, I was living as male, and it was hard going in the men's bathroom. I mean, it was just the toughest thing, one of the toughest things I've ever done, You just have to get brave and do it anyway. So I really feel for, people who don't really pass all the way or who aren't interested in taking hormones. It's a tough thing.
Yeah, it is.
Mark talks about, having held it, because pre-transition he was at a gym and he used to work out and used to bodybuild as Maritza, and, he wasn't, the people knew him as that person, and going into the men's room was a scary proposition, was it not?
It was. And then I had a problem. Like, once I really, started looking like a guy, I was still using the female bathroom. I had a lady who, she was scared. She went to open the door, and she young man, are you in the wrong bathroom? And I'm like, I'm in trouble now. So I don't know. Sometimes I don't know where I'm going to pee. So bathrooms became my worst nightmare. I never peed, only at home. I would hold it. It was like, urinary tract infection, here I come. But,
right.
I just... Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah. Was there anything else that you would like to add? Any concerts? Anything that you would like the listeners to know?
Sure. I'm going to be playing next Thursday night at Meridian Hookah Lounge on 56th Street in Tampa. It's just an open mic, really laid-back, casual kind of thing. On April 11th, which is a Saturday, I'll be playing at the DeLandapalooza Music Festival in DeLand. And that's over 150 bands on 27 different stages. They close off the whole strip of downtown, and it's just music as far as you can hear. Like, you can't take a step without hearing a different band.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Wish you good luck in the future, and I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing your baby grow and all those wonderful experiences that you have lying ahead.
Also, this summer, my debut album's coming out. It's called South of the Sun. You'd think I'd know my own album, huh?
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, it's like me trying to memorize all my songs. I have to write them down. I have so many. It's like, no way. I forget them all the time.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. Good luck, Quinn.
Good luck to you.
And thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for Monday. It's current events and paranormal. Yeah. So thank you guys once again. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. Don't party too much. Try to be a little just bouncing out a bit. And you guys, if you can't live your truth,
then it's just not worth living.
And here we're going to end with Supernova, one of Quinn's singles. And here we go. Good night, folks.
Good night.
Two puzzle pieces that just fit, but you shine so bright you stole the last dark part of my soul. Our lives together seem perfect, but it wasn't meant to last. Before we met, the stones had been cast, heartbroken and blind inside, up in the middle of this dark night. Only this song to write. How you were a supernova, even outshine the sun. How you were a supernova. Oh, girl, you had to be the one. You had to be the one. Crushed by the truth, but it's alright. The star I thought I saw is just a hazy streetlight in the sky. Stardust settle into orbit round my tiny satellite. Stardust settle into orbit. Flash your shine across my sky.